on, New York Giants fans? So, just real quickly, I'm going to headline some things before we get into this short little recap. I'm going to do it player by player in terms of the recap, stuff like that, some events that happened during the game, some stuff to talk about. With that being said, I'm not going to overreact too much. It is preseason week 1. With that being said, if I have a green tint, trust me, I'm not becoming a Jet fan. I think this camera is actually slowly dying. So, that's just the way things are sometimes, once you outuse them or whatever. I don't know. But I'll probably have to get a new one in the future. And just a heads up, I will probably not be releasing any content from here on to about Wednesday-ish. I'm going to Jersey Shore for my birthday weekend. But I will be active on Twitter most likely during the Yankee games and stuff like that. So no Yankees recap, no roster bubble series until like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday-ish. Boys in the Big Apple likely next Friday, but we'll see what happens there. I still want to have this show regardless, and then we're moving back to Mondays the following Monday. So let's get started here in terms of player breakdowns, position breakdowns, stuff like that. It's going to be real simple in this video. I'm not going to go far into it. It's about 1:40 in the morning, so I still have some game to watch because I was in upstate for a moving out party, if you want to put it that way, and at times, it's not like I was missing it because I was at the party, but we were on the way back, and you were at parts of upstate where you were not getting any service. So it was like sometimes it would cut out, sometimes it would be like 20 FPS, just not really great quality at different times, which pissed me off, but, that's the first real Giants game that I have missed within 2 years. Last year I did not miss a single snap. The year before that I did miss one game, which was the Washington football team game in week 4. But once again, let's talk about this game. So the New York Giants lost to the New York Jets 12-7. I lost my bet. That's not the topic of this video, though. I'll headline it probably at the end. The offensive line. I saw the first series and I think the second series or the third series. I saw 2 out of the 3 series. Number 1 series, obviously Glennon 2 incomplete passes. Then Matt Parrott gets beat on the rush on the outside. Bryce Huff sacks Glennon. That's the end of that drive, which is a little concerning. In terms of the backup O-line, which is probably causing more concern at this point, wasn't good. Clayton Torson, and he never got reps with the ones, but he got sacked 4 times. That's not really good. They gave Torson a lot of playing time, but we'll talk about that towards the end. But just getting sacked 4 times. Once again, it can be skewed, but a lot of the sacks were, offensive line. And shots to the Jets, they played a good game. There's no rough feelings there. And obviously, it's like a Yankees-Mets, Knicks-Nets, Islanders, Rangers kind of anticipated thing. But for them, they played a good game. And first unofficial win for Robert Saleh as the head coach. So that in terms of the O-line, they are very thin. Ted Larson will probably play next week. It's going to be interesting. Likely, there's going to not be guys that are meaningful getting cut. Like on Tuesday, they're cutting down to 85 all across the league. It's not likely that they're going to be cutting guys like veterans. Let's just say if Ted Larson was on another team or this guy or that guy, they're likely not cutting those type of players. They're cutting scraps and stuff like that. With that being said, let's move on to the number 2 kind of topic, whatever, player breakdown, whatever. So Mike Glenn and Clayton Torson. Not very good from these guys tonight. I cannot lie to you guys. It's all about facts here. We tell the facts, even though sometimes I can be a little biased. Torson did not look good. Glennon did not look good. If I'm not mistaken, Glennon was about 3 for 7. Yeah, he was 3 for 7 for 20 yards. Clayton Torson, 5 for 16 for 72 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown being to Damian Willis late in the game. But it wasn't good. And, there are Giants fans out there. And once again, I respect both sides because those are valuable opinions. Those are valuable arguments. You could say, well, it's the preseason. These guys are just getting in there. They haven't faced preseason in 2 years, which is obviously, once again, I would say valuable excuse. But Glennon did play last year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So in that case, he was inaccurate. And he's known to be a quarterback with a good arm, but very inaccurate. Clayton Thorson, he hasn't played in 2 years in terms of the preseason and stuff like that. But there was just, if he's the quarterback three, if he's the backup, something like that, I'm going to be worried. He's also injured, which is not a good thing for the New York Giants. Once again, when I was talking about players of value being cut, it's likely not going to happen until the end of the preseason. So it's going to be interesting with this backup quarterback battle because teams may elect to go with two quarterbacks this year. Maybe they revert to three like 2019 in the past years. But Torson just was not good. A couple overthrown balls. Of course, you had those two would-be kind of drops by David Sills, even though he did catch that the big one along the left side of the sideline. But Torson was just very inaccurate. He wasn't good. I think there was one play when Alfred Morris was in the backfield. It was a play action that he threw to him and it hit the ground. Man was wide open. It's not like he was under pressure. Just threw it to the ground. I'm like, what are you doing there? But I would be very concerned. I kind of am concerned about Torson at this point because even if he wasn't injured, quarterback three, and it's concerning to me. And I respect Giants fans both sides of the opinion. It's preseason. Also, the fact that he's quarterback three. And the next guy I'll talk about is David Sills. I'm pretty sure he caught 3 passes for a total of 49 yards. His longest was a 37-yard reception down the left sideline. Obviously, he's that big go-and-get-it guy for the New York Giants that's trying to make the roster. He did drop 2 passes. One, you can argue, may have been deflected by Corey Ballentine, but there was one on 4th down where Torson threw it right to him. And if you're going to be that guy that goes up and get it, you got to make that catch. I don't care who you're playing against. You're playing for a roster spot. You need to go up and get it. So Sills, he did have 2 would-be drops, but at the same time, I give him credit for that big 34-yard reception and the other receptions he had. The next guy I want to talk about is Carter Coughlin. I thought he had a good night other than a missed tackle that, kind of led to a mini run for the New York Jets. I thought he did well at inside linebacker. He's obviously making the transition, made a couple of nice tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, and he also forced a fumble that the Giants did not recover, but still a forced fumble. I think it was White's hand or Morgan's hand. He hit somebody's hand and they fumbled, but the Jets recovered. I think we forced like 3 fumbles tonight, one of them being recovered by the Giants. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Sandro Platzgummer, the guy from Austria, he was one I really wanted to see in this matchup, and when I got home, a couple minutes after, he goes for that big, I think it was like 48-yard run. That was big to get out of there. Now, obviously, my memory's a little whizzy right now in terms of what led to the touchdown drive, whether it was the big fumble or whether it was the Sandra Platzgummer run. I would have to go back and watch the game or watch the highlights or something like that. But I think Platzgummer is someone that Giants could keep, possibly. I'm not going too far right now, but he did impress me with that big, nice run, especially for the fact that it was the only good run that the New York Giants probably had tonight, from what I watched at least. Next guy is another running back, Corey Clement. He, from what I heard, had a good night other than the fumble. And you cannot fumble in the red zone. With this team being one of the least productive offenses in terms of the red zone for the past couple of years, and you're trying to make their spot as a running back 3, you can't really do that. You can't really fumble in the red zone. You're set up. You're right there. You go in and you fumble. That's not good. And that drive ended up being, I think, a field goal, a touchdown, or something like that, but that's the defense's thing. But once again, you cannot put the offense in that sort of position where you're downfield now, but you fumble it, and that's just a drive killer. That's a tone killer as well. I'm not saying he's going to lose his job or anything, but once again, that's an important landmark when coaches are deciding, did you win the job? Did you lose the job? The next 2 guys I want to talk about is Madre Harper and Rodarius Williams. I thought Rodarius Williams, he had some good plays, had some bad plays, and obviously Darnay Holmes last year was kind of similar in getting interceptions in camp and stuff like that. I knew that he was going to struggle to some extent. I'm not saying that Morgan is the greatest quarterback to ever live or Mike White is, but once these guys face real reps against other teams, it's going to be a different story. We saw that with Holmes against the Steelers, Holmes against the Bears, Holmes against the 49ers. He struggled to start the season. And I think Rodarius Williams, seeing the field earlier than Holmes did last year against other teams, kind of helps him. But at the same time, he's going to get those struggles out. And once again, this is a 6th-round pick we're talking about. This ain't no first-round pick. This ain't no second-round pick. It's a 6th-round pick. A lot of people thought he should have went in the 3rd round. Well, right now he's 6th-round value. And Madre Harper, a lot of people thought he played well. I don't think he did. He had that one pass interference penalty that could have been a possible pick six, but obviously he held the receiver, so that was clear pass interference on the defense. And then he had some plays where just were good, some were bad. I didn't think he did all that well. The Giants were playing some very relaxed defense, not really man-on-man, kind of the stuff from last year where, guys like Yadam are playing, Darius Williams, Harper, you're playing zone. You're not going to have these guys keep getting burnt. You're playing more soft zone. So that's kind of what I wanted to say in terms of that. The big play on 3rd down, I thought that was really big for the New York Giants, and I also thought the Jets, I'm like, what are you guys doing there? I honestly thought if the Jets wanted to end it right there, they should have just went right up the middle. They flipped it off to the side. I forget who was in the backfield. I think it was Josh Adams or somebody. The guy we just got, Willie Henry, I think his name is, from the Ravens. Beautiful play in the backfield. They punted and obviously pinned us inside our own end zone, and then we got a safety. But that's a big play. I thought the defense had some, weaknesses and strengths today, at least from what I watched. As a whole, I thought they did decent, but obviously the individual players had some weaknesses, like Harper, Williams, and some of the other guys. Coughlin obviously had a nice day. Danny Shelton had a big 4th down stop, which could prove to be, hey, listen, we're replacing Dalvin Tomlinson with this guy for cheap for maybe a year. And will he turn out for us? We'll see what happens there. In terms of the offense struggling, that really can't happen. I don't care who is the quarterback, but the fact that you don't score till the 4th quarter, that really isn't necessarily great to hear. The offense needs to do better. I don't know if it was the wide receivers. I don't think it was. The quarterback play has to be better. The offensive line play has to be better. I'm not going to sit here and say that Torson and Glennon were totally thrown off because of the offensive line being bad. It's to the fact that Glennon and Torson were both inaccurate. And sure, obviously they got sacked a total of 5 times, but both were inaccurate to start. So that wasn't necessarily a great thing. You're basically fueling the fire for bad offense at that point. And then just real quickly to wrap it up, Kyle Murphy and TJ Brunson got injured. From what I heard, Murphy did kind of good in the couple of snaps that he played. He's a guy, possible dark horse candidate to make this roster as backup guard, because that spot is really wide open right now with Jonathan Harrison not playing because of injury and a couple other guys not playing because of injury. He, right now, in my opinion, could be one of those guys, other than Kenny Wiggins, that makes the roster. It's definitely a possibility. TJ Brunson, obviously we haven't been impressed with him over the past year. Nice hit on, I think it was Kenny Yeboah to force the fumble, where Darius Williams picks it up and recovers it at the 20-yard line or something like that. That is a very nice thing to see from Brunson. Obviously didn't earn a lot of snaps last year, but if you can make those type of plays and make the good ones, you can probably find yourself on a roster, if not with the New York Giants, somewhere else. So that's basically what I have for you guys this evening. I know this will probably be out in the morning, but if you guys haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification button so you get notified when the live stream pops video drops. Appreciate you all once again. No content probably till about Wednesday, Thursday, Friday-ish. We'll be on a birthday vacation to Seaside Heights, New Jersey. With that being said, I should be on Twitter like usual. I'll be keeping up track with the Yankees and all this other stuff. But peace out, guys. See you later. And don't get too overreactive over this. The quarterbacks and the offensive line, you guys can definitely talk about, but remember, it is week 1 of the preseason, so I'm not overreacting. Obviously, I do have some concerns. Peace out, guys. See you later, and go Giants.